Good morning. Let's take a moment, a breath, before I start my talk. So close your eyes and take a nice, slow, deep breath. Allow that breath to soften your heart, to let go. And if you notice that when you open your heart and you let go, that there is heartbreak because of what's happening in the world, just breathe. Take a deeper breath instead of holding your breath. And another one, even deeper. Maybe in such a way that you can hear the sound of your own breath. One more. Can you feel yourself be present? Can you feel yourself here and now? Good morning. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Morristown's Facebook Live event, YouTube Live event, and or the rebroadcast. Isn't it interesting that we can do something live and it can be present and available forever on the internet? So today my topic is serving with a pure heart. I don't know if you've noticed, but it looks like and feels like all systems are breaking down. And if you feel it and you see it and you notice it, are you willing to know that there is a time of healing and rebirth? There's a time for clarity. And so we're either a part of the rebirth or the dying that needs and wants to happen. So that's what I want to talk about today. My name is Frankie Timmers, and I'm the spiritual director of Center for Spiritual Living Morristown in beautiful historic Morristown, New Jersey. Our website is www.cslmorristown.org. You can find lots of stuff there, even a place where you can give if you feel so moved to support our work. I welcome all of you that are watching this in whatever way, shape, or form. Please let us know you're here by making a comment, by clicking on any of the bubbles, by sharing this with others, by tagging someone, and continue to invite others to be part of this experience. So, again, the topic today is serving with a pure heart. Here we go. I find it very hard to believe and to see and to sit with what's happening in our world. Besides COVID-19 and the last 3-4 months of that, it's difficult and painful to know that our first people, our native people, don't have proper water to drink, to cook with, to bathe in, proper medicine to take care of them. It's painful to see what's happening in our country, in our world, with racism, that a black man gets killed and murdered the way George Floyd and many others, including women. It's so painful, and it's unbelievable that that's happening in our world today, and yet it's not so unbelievable that we are seeing and knowing there is actual human trafficking taking place before our very eyes without even knowing it. Or maybe knowing it, but feeling like we have nothing to do with it or are able to do anything about it. And then the thought, the pain of knowing that children are being abducted and used for sexual gratification or other things, or being abused on a daily basis. That our earth, our beautiful planet, is being destroyed because of greed. That everything around us is becoming so toxic that it's making us sick. I hope you're still with me and not hanging up, because we need to see it, talk about it, hear it, and be a part of the healing. Continuous wars, how is that possible? Fake news, a country that is politically divided, etc., etc., etc. You might have a list of your own. So there is grief and anger and sadness and frustration and fear and overwhelm. But there is also love, a lot of love, a lot of support, a lot of participation, a lot of healing taking place. All systems are breaking down. Have you noticed? I believe all systems need to be breaking down that do not support everyone, that do not acknowledge that life and everything and everyone in it is sacred. On the surface, it may look like COVID-19. It may look like racism. It may look like division. But on the surface, there is a below that is so much bigger and so much deeper that we are called to see, and that we are needing to know cannot continue. And so our question is, where am I? Where am I in this? What is my part in this? It must be a provocative question. It must be a question that makes our hearts break open, that make us question everything. Because healing is what's called for right now, and we're called to be a part of it. I want to read a few paragraphs from the book Spiritual Power by Llewellyn Vaughan-Lee. And this is 3 paragraphs, and this is the first one on page 69. When our spark of consciousness is given in service to the whole, life will respond in ways that are not presently available. Our consciousness is the catalyst that can awaken new energy centers and new ways for energy to flow into life. We know how this happens in our own inner journey when we turn our attention away from the desires of the ego. Our consciousness then opens us to the miraculous that is always present but hidden by our ego. And our consciousness itself begins to change and expand. It no longer follows the patterns of our conditioning, but awakens to its higher purpose. So the question is, am I a part of the broken system, or am I a part of the healing? There is something happening in the world. Something new is being born. And we get to be a part of it, especially if we call ourselves religious scientists or spiritual people or on the spiritual path or being a presence of love. And so we can tell when we are a part of the broken system if we stay stuck in the fear, stuck in judgment, stuck in our own ego nature, just thinking about ourselves, stuck in the anxieties, stuck in the fear of the unknown, the apathy. It doesn't mean we don't feel that. It just means that we use that to step in to something greater, to be part of the rebirth. If we are part of the new birth, it means that we're doing our deep inner work. We're doing our healing work, and we're realizing that this is not just about us. It's about the oneness of all life. And that we do our own inner work, healing our own inner racism, our own inner abuse, our own inner blindness, our own greed, as subtle as that can be. And opening to that, that's hard work. But the alternative no longer is an option. We know that when we look at the news. Llewellyn Vaughan Lee goes on by saying, we do not recognize the real potential of consciousness. Consciousness is our divine gift, and it can function in many different ways, on many different levels. It carries the seed of the future, but these seeds need to be given to life, otherwise they cannot grow. The simple act of giving our consciousness in service to the whole is the spark that will transform the world. And because we are an integral part of the whole, life itself will show us where we are needed. Not the life that exists on a solely physical level, but life that flows from the inner to the outer and carries the imprint of the divine nature. So the invitation is to return to the sacred, to return to the awareness that the presence and the power of the divine is already in us, available to us, and to be lived, to be seen, to be noticed, to be acknowledged. And that when we live that, when we actually live it, and there's room for all of us, including myself, to live more of it, whether it's in the little nooks and crannies of my being, my relationships, my world, or on the grander scale of how and when I witness what's happening in the world and what is mine to not only heal, but to give and to do. So we don't just think about what we can do in the world, how we can serve, but we always keep in mind that there is something also wanting to be healed within ourselves at the same time. It's not separate. It's not like, okay, let me heal myself and then I'll show up in the world. No, as I heal myself, I show up in the world, and as I show up in the world, I will notice things that want to be healed in me. And so we must step away then from our own ego needs. We're all a bit narcissistic, don't you think? A bit self-absorbed. And to step away from that tiny self that limits, that resists, that fears, that's anxious, that is focusing on the past and trying to figure our way into a new future. That part has to become part of the service to the whole, as the whole in the whole. And so the question then becomes part of our spiritual practices. It's my question every morning. It's part of my spiritual practice. What is mine to do today? What is mine to be? How am I to show up in the world as a whole, W-H-O-L-E, human being? It will then show me what is still mine to heal. That becomes part of my prayer work. And so it's a daily, hourly question. And then not just to ask the question, but to act on it, knowing that that which comes from deep within already has connected to it the greatest support from the entire universe to live it, to express it, to realize it. And so as we heal any brokenness inside, we become a part of the greater good. And as we live and serve the greater good, whatever needs and wants to be healed within is healed. That's what oneness means. It's not separate, the way we tend to think in our human mind. And so I read this wonderful quote today by the beloved Martin Luther King. This was written in 1956, which is another thing that boggles my mind, that 6 decades later, we still have to do that deep work to heal as a society. He said, as you press on for justice, be sure to move with dignity and discipline, using only the weapon of love. Let no one, he says, let no man pull you so low as to hate him. Always avoid violence. If you succumb to the temptation of using violence in your struggle, unborn generations will be the recipients of a long and desolate night of bitterness. And your chief legacy to the future will be an endless reign of meaningless chaos. So how do we serve then? We serve with love, but we have to question what that looks like, because I know we may see us serving with anger right now, but there is anger that's violent, but there's also anger that's very empowering, and we must know the difference within ourselves. But we must serve with love to the best of our ability, because we know it is love that heals. I don't have all the answers. Sometimes I feel I don't have any answers, and I then must just live in the question and be patient and be silent until the truth rises to the surface. And sometimes I get lost, just like many. But I know I must listen to my heart, because my heart knows. And I must heal what's in the way of my serving with love and empowered anger. And I am here to serve you, our practitioners, not just at Center for Spiritual Living, Morristown, but all over the planet, are here to serve you when and if you get caught in the limiting way of seeing the world and or yourself. We are here to awaken to a new world order that is being created. The question is, are you part of the new, or are you still part of the old? We are here to serve. We're here to awaken. We're here to remember the truth and live from it. We're here to know that life is sacred, and we're here to live that sacred act. I want to close with another quote from Your Spiritual Power by, or How It Works, by Llewellyn Vaughan Lee. And then I'm going to share a couple of things that are happening at the center that I want you to know about, and then I will close with a healing treatment. When life is awake, It will respond quite differently from its present sleeping state. But there is no savior outside of ourselves who can bring about this change. We are the ones we have been waiting for. We are the ones we have been waiting for. It is our participation that is needed, a participation that on its highest level recognizes the divine that is within everything. When we see that everything is sacred, when we see the divine oneness around us, we align life to what is real and bring this reality into life. So know that we are available to you, that we're here to serve you, and that you can explore us on our website, cslmorristown.org. You can check us out on Twitter, Facebook, Meetup, Instagram. Not always perfectly available there, but you can find us. That we're going back on Wednesdays to Spirit Tea Time, which is like a no frill kind of celebration where we come together to do spiritual practices, do an experiential practice, connect with one another. It's at 6:30 Jersey time. If you want in, let us know. Send us an email. We'll send you the Zoom link. And if you like to give, we welcome your generosity. And we're so grateful for how much support we're getting from everyone via these broadcasts. Truly, truly grateful, because it allows us to continue to do this work. And so join me in a closing healing treatment. So right here, right now, as I withdraw my attention from the outer world and bring myself to the inner world of the spirit, of the heart, of the soul, I remember there's only one life, one love, one truth. It is within me. It is all around me. I look for it with every breath and every heartbeat. I let it nourish me so that it moves me to action, so that I speak from, hear from, see from, know from, live from the highest truth available in the moment. This allows me to be the healing presence that the universe created me to be. When I say I, my, me, I'm not speaking about little Frankie Timmers. I'm speaking to and from the highest self in each and every one of us. I realize that I am the one called to be the change, called to birth a new world order, called to live from the highest point of view that Spirit is presenting me. Because as a unique individualized expression of the one, I only see what I see. And I know that together we can create this new world order that is based on love and respect, on dignity, on purity. And so I serve with a pure heart, without expectation, without judgment, without my opinion, just with love. And I trust and know that whenever that isn't possible, I can turn to my heart of compassion and let it heal, so that I am free to be fully available to being of service, to the new order, the rebirth, and my expression of my greatest yet to be. With awe and gratitude, then, I turn this word over to your universal law, trusting that it knows exactly how to demonstrate it for me and all of my brothers and sisters on this planet, including all of Mother Nature, all of the four-leggeds, the two-leggeds, the winged ones, all of life as sacred. And so it is. Thank you for joining me. See you again.